We all have that perfect version of ourselves living in our minds. The one who wakes up at 5 a.m., exercises for an hour, reads for 2 hours, and conquers every goal effortlessly. But here's the painful truth. That perfect version keeps us from becoming better at all. While we wait for the motivation to suddenly transform overnight, life quietly passes us by, one wasted day at a time. This story is about a boy who discovered something revolutionary, that the distance between ordinary and extraordinary isn't a giant leap, but 1,000 tiny steps taken every single day. What if I told you that just 15 minutes today could completely transform your life in 6 months? Sounds impossible, right? But by the end of this story, you'll understand why most people fail to change and how you can become the exception. So, watch carefully, because hidden in this simple tale is the secret that separates dreamers from achievers.
The boy who couldn't start. Once, there lived a boy who was average at his studies. He would often make grand promises to himself. From tomorrow, I will study for 5 hours every day. Or, starting Monday, I will exercise for 1 hour daily. Or, this time, I will solve 20 math problems each night. But that tomorrow never came. Like morning dew that disappears with the sun, his enthusiasm would vanish within days. The 5 hours of study would become 2, then 1, then nothing. The exercise routine would last barely a week. The 20 problems would overwhelm him on the very first day. One evening, frustrated after another failed attempt, he sat with his grandfather under the old neem tree in their courtyard. "Grandpa, why can't I change?" the boy asked, his voice heavy with disappointment. "I try so hard, but I always fail. Maybe I am meant to be average forever. I can't be successful in my life." His grandfather smiled gently and said, "Let me tell you a story, my boy. The parable of the farmer." Long ago, there was a village suffering from a terrible drought. There had been no rain for years. The only lake had completely turned into bare ground, and there were no rivers connected to the village. The villagers were surviving on only one water source, rain. Every day, the villagers would gather in the square, looking at the sky and praying for rain. Among them lived a farmer who decided to do something different. While others sat waiting for clouds, he picked up his spade and began digging a well in his field. The first day, he dug only 1 foot. The villagers laughed at him. "You fool," they said. "1 foot? You'll need to dig at least 100 feet to find water in this drought. At this rate, you'll be digging for years." The farmer replied with a smile, "Let's see how far I can go tomorrow." And he did, every single day. While the villagers gathered to complain about the drought and wait for rain, the farmer dug 1 more foot. Some days the soil was hard as rock. Some days his hands bled, but he never stopped. "Why don't you dig faster?" people would mock. "Dig 10 feet a day, 20 feet. Your 1 foot is nothing." But the farmer continued at his pace, 1 foot, every day, without fail. Weeks passed, months passed. The villagers had stopped laughing. They had forgotten about him entirely. They were too busy with their daily gatherings, their complaints, and their waiting. Then one morning, the village awoke to the farmer's joyful shout, "Water! I found water in my well!" Clear, cold water gushed from his well. While everyone had waited for the perfect rain that never came, the farmer had reached the water 1 foot at a time. Soon there was a line of villagers at his door, empty vessels in their hands, finally understanding what they had missed. He not only saved the village, but taught a profound lesson too. The lesson applied.
The grandfather looked at his grandson and said, "You see, my son, you are like those villagers, waiting for the rain instead of digging a well." The villagers were frightened by the amount of work in front of them. Digging a 100-foot well seemed impossible, so they did nothing. Just like you, when you think of studying for 5 hours or solving 50 problems, the task feels so big that you don't even start. You are waiting for the perfect day when you can suddenly study for hours or exercise for an hour. But life doesn't work that way. The boy listened carefully as his grandfather continued. Start with just 1 foot. Can you study for 10 minutes tomorrow? Not hours, just 10 minutes. Yes, Grandpa, 10 minutes is easy, the boy replied. Good. And can you do 5 push-ups? Not a full workout, just 5 push-ups. The boy nodded. And 5 math problems? Not 50, just 5. I can do that, the boy said, his voice gaining confidence. His grandfather smiled. Then start there. And next week, make it 15 minutes of study, 10 push-ups, 7 problems. The week after, 20 minutes, 15 push-ups, 10 problems. Dig your well 1 foot at a time, just like the farmer. The transformation. The boy began the very next morning. 10 minutes of study seemed almost silly. It was over before he knew it. 5 push-ups took less than a minute. 5 math problems were done in no time. But he continued every day without fail. At first, nothing seemed to change. His classmates didn't notice. His teachers didn't notice. Even he didn't notice. But like the farmer digging in the hard earth, he kept going. 6 months later, he was studying for 60 minutes daily, not because he forced himself, but because it had become as natural as brushing his teeth. His push-ups had grown to 50. His daily math problems had reached 20. Then something remarkable happened. During a general knowledge competition, teachers were stunned when this average boy answered question after question, leaving the usual toppers behind. How did he know so much? Simple. Those 10 minutes of reading had grown to an hour, and he had been reading every single day. 1 page had become 2, 2 had become 5, 5 had become 20. Without realizing it, he had read more than 10 books in 6 months. In the logical reasoning test, he solved problems that stumped students who claimed to study for hours. Why? Because his 5 daily problems had trained his mind to think clearly and consistently. His mathematics teacher, who had never particularly noticed him before, now called him to solve difficult problems on the board. His physical education teacher was amazed at his stamina and strength. But the biggest surprise came during the annual day speech competition. The boy who had once struggled to speak in class delivered a speech that left the entire auditorium silent before erupting in applause. Those few minutes of daily reading aloud to himself had transformed his communication skills. His classmates would ask, "What happened to you? What's your secret?" He would smile and say, "I dig 1 foot every day." The compound effect. They didn't understand, but the boy knew he had learned what his grandfather had taught him through the farmer's story. You see, my friends, a person who improves by just 1% each day will be 37 times better in 1 year. It seems impossible, but that's the power of compound growth. Reading just 10 pages a day means 3,650 pages a year. That's 10 to 15 books. Saving just $5 a day creates a habit that builds wealth over time. Walking just 20 minutes daily adds up to over 120 hours of exercise in a year. Learning just 5 new words a day gives you a vocabulary of 1,800 new words by year's end. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself a complete life overhaul starting Monday? How many gym memberships have you bought only to quit after 2 weeks? How many books sit unread on your shelf because you're waiting for the right time to start? Here's what you need to understand. Your brain resists big changes because they trigger fear and overwhelm. But small changes?
They slip under the radar. They don't scare you. They're so easy that you can't fail. And that's exactly why they work. The boy understood now that greatness isn't built in a day. It's built daily. Success doesn't require giant leaps that exhaust you and make you quit. It requires tiny, consistent steps. The farmer didn't find water because he was stronger than others or because he had better tools. He found water because he consistently dug 1 foot every single day, while others got it was an impossible task to dig hundreds of feet. Conclusion. And that is the secret that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary ones. Not the size of their steps, but the consistency of their walking. Not the grandness of their plans, but the persistence of their actions. As the boy's grandfather had said, a river cuts through rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. Be like water, my son. Flow a little every day, and eventually you will carve your own path through the mountain. Now, I want to ask you something important. What's your 1 foot going to be? What tiny habit will you start tomorrow? Not next week, not next month, but tomorrow. Write it in the comments below. Make it so small that it would be embarrassing not to do it. If this story opened your eyes to the power of small daily actions, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. Someone in your life is waiting for the perfect moment to change. Show them that moment is now. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that will transform the way you think about success and personal growth. Remember, while others wait for the perfect conditions, you can start digging your well today, 1 foot at a time. Until next time, stop waiting for the rain and start digging. Your future self will thank you.